Hello and welcome to your weekly Toledo Real Estate Roundup. It's Friday, August 8th, 2025, and we're here to give you a friendly, easy-to-follow summary of recent property sales in the Toledo area. This week, we're focusing on the beautiful and historic Old West End, with a look at some other nearby sales as well. The data covers transactions recorded in the final week of July. Let's dive right in. Our first stop is the Old West End, in the 43620 zip code. We saw a handful of properties change hands. The most notable market sale was at 2120 Glenwood Avenue. A property there was sold by C&J Renovations to Lindsay Parker and others for $129,000. That sale was recorded on July 25th. Nearby on that same street, at 2471 Glenwood Avenue, a property was transferred between Vereen Taylor for $49,000. Now, you often see transactions with a sale price of $0. This usually means the property is being transferred between family members or moved into a trust. We saw two of those in the Old West End last week. One was at 2314 Robinwood Avenue, and the other was at 2373 Glenwood Avenue. So, no market sales there, just paperwork keeping things in the family or with a trust company. Now, let's expand our view to some of the surrounding neighborhoods, mostly in the 43615 zip code, where we saw a lot more activity. The biggest sale of the week happened at 2 Stableside South. That home was sold by Greg Casper to Heber Marson and others for $505,000. Another high-value sale was at 4749 West Bancroft Street, which went for $389,000. We also saw another notable transaction at 4422 Sheraton Road. It was recorded as a transfer involving Diane Britton for $365,000. Since the buyer and seller names are the same, this was likely related to a refinancing or moving the property into a trust, rather than a traditional sale from one person to another. We saw an interesting pair of sales on Brancaster Road. Howell Properties LLC sold two homes right next to each other at 2036 and 2040 Brancaster Road to the same buyer, Nor Albador. The price for each home was recorded at $200,000. There was also a lot of activity on or near Angola Road. A property at 5702 Angola Road was sold by a Warehouse LLC for just under $60,000. Another property with the same address was sold by Sun Home Services for about $46,000, and a mobile home at that same address was sold for $7,000. Of course, just like in the Old West End, there were many $0 transfers. For instance, we saw one on 6005 Fallen Leaf Drive involving the Geddert family, in addition to several others as families and trustees moved properties into different names. To round things out, we saw a number of other interesting sales. A home at 2001 Fieldbrook Drive sold for $310,000. Over at 5476 Greenridge Drive, a house sold for $245,000. And a commercial property at 4140 South Avenue was sold to Green Yard Lawn Care for just $8,000. And that's the snapshot of Toledo real estate for the last week of July. A big sale topping $500,000 and some steady activity in the Old West End. We hope this was helpful. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll be back next week with more updates. Have a great weekend.